Getting ready to record MIDI is the hard part. Now that we have a routine established to take us through the process, let's make a MIDI recording and learn how to use Live's MIDI overdub function. So I'm going to start by loading an instrument onto this first default MIDI track. So let me click the Instruments category, and I'll just drop down to Impulse and grab this first preset, and I'll load that by dragging it onto the track or down into this drop instrument or sample area. So as soon as I loaded that, notice that the track became record enabled and the clip stop buttons turned into record buttons. So let me check to see if I've got signal by pressing a key on my keyboard. And if you'll remember, that first slot on the Impulse drum machine there is mapped to C3 or middle C. Okay, so I've got sound. Next I'll go up and I'll enable the metronome button so that I've got a time reference. And I'm going to check to make sure that I've got a count in enabled by clicking on that little drop down menu. And it looks like I've got that set to 1 bar, which should be enough. So I'll click out of there. Now all I need to do to go into record is click the record button on one of these clip slots. I'll just choose the first one. We should hear a 4-beat count in, and then I'll start playing. Okay. So if we look down here on the clip overlay button, you'll notice that it looks like I've got some MIDI. So I'll choose that, and I can see some of the MIDI notes there. And it's a little bit off the screen, so I'm going to come over here on the left and I'm going to pull up so I can see that the kick across the bottom. And I also noticed that I didn't stop record. And by the way, I did that by pressing the space bar. But the clip is actually almost 6 bars long, and I only played 4 bars. So I'm going to grab the clip endpoints here, and I'm going to drag those over and snap those onto grid at the end of bar 4. So I've just got a kick and snare part, and it's likely that you're going to want to have more than that. So I'm going to overdub an additional part on top of this. I can do that by selecting a clip, the track is in record, and then coming up here and clicking the session record button. So that was going to allow me to add notes to an existing clip without wiping out what was there before. So here we go. So you can see how you can build a part up one instrument at a time. Now, we can also do this on the fly without actually having to start and stop. So let me do that on the second track. So I'm going to grab the same preset, and I'm going to load that onto a clip over here in the second track. And to make sure that I don't hear playback on the first track, I'm actually going to disable the playback by clicking on the track activator or mute button. I'm going to insert an empty MIDI clip on one of the clip slots here. So I'll choose that, and then I'm going to right-click and choose Insert MIDI Clip. You can also use the key command Shift-Command-M or Shift-Control-M on a PC. And when this comes in, notice that it's just 1 bar in length. I actually want to record into 2 bars. So I'm going to click the loop brace up here at the top, select that, and go Command-D to duplicate that, and it'll just duplicate whatever the current length is. So now I've got a 2-bar MIDI clip to record into. So what I'm going to do here then is click the session record button, and then I'm going to play this in 1 part at a time. Now note that if you make a mistake while you do this, while it's running you can use the undo function, Command-Z or Control-Z on a PC, and undo the last thing, and then just wait for it to loop back around, play it in again. So let's give this a shot. Okay, so I stopped that by pressing the space bar again, and now I can take that track out of record, and I'm ready to move on to the next thing. So now that you know how to record and overdub record MIDI in session view, you're ready to begin recording the different parts of your songs.